Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Oh,
Hey,
good evening.
hey.
How's everyone doing? Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everything is going good. Oh, sorry, text message. We're actually getting ready to head out,
Yeah,
but we
we're
still
gonna
want to.
party tonight.
I don't know about party. I'm getting old for that, but we just wanted to take a little time just to make sure we still got the call going this evening, to get you guys the information that you needed. I thought we could this week talk about something that's probably pretty important in most individuals' business, just because it's probably the one thing that keeps a lot of people from being successful in multi-level marketing or network marketing, especially when it comes to this type of business model, and that is fear. Now, the reason I say that is because fear is the one thing that keeps people from doing almost anything in life. Sometimes we're afraid that we'll be too successful, or we feel incompetent. We don't feel that we have enough information to be able to share information with other people. But let's talk about a little bit about why that's not necessarily the case. And then we'll talk about some things that you can do to overcome that fear, and things you guys can start to put into practice so that you can be successful in your business. So I said, let's address why we really shouldn't be fearful about talking about Young Living. And a lot of that stems from the very first thing is the products. Young Living has excellent products to meet just about the needs of just about every individual. So we know that our products are great. If you're continuing to use them and discover new products like I am, and I'm sure Dana is, that's going to continue to build your belief level. So, your fear in, oh, well, I'm not sure if the oils will work for this individual. A lot of that can be allayed just by actually putting into practice what you're preaching. So the first thing that you should do is become your best customer. This is a business, and the only way that you're going to continue to support yourself in business is to have great customers, and that first one should be you. Um, which kind of ties into my next point, because a lot of times we feel like we don't know enough to be able to talk to individuals about the business or to talk to them about the products. And the reality is we don't need to know everything. We only need to know basically our own testimonials and our stories. So I know what's worked for me in the past, and maybe Dana can talk on this a little bit also, is I just share my experiences that I've had with the products. I know more and more for me, I'm getting into using supplements. And I've noticed a huge change in how I feel, my energy levels, how great my sleep is now that I'm using supplements and taking things more consistently. So I share those stories because it's going to stick out. It's going to stand out. People are going to ask you about that. Like if you're coming in the morning and you're a little bit more chipper than usual or bubbly, they're going to ask you, why are you so happy? Those are opportunities that you can take to share. So don't feel like you need to know everything. I did take a course at convention about how the oils are made up, the chemistry behind them. And it's interesting stuff, but it's not necessary at all to do this.
The reality is nobody cares.
Yeah.
I'm probably the only person that you'll encounter that actually would be like, so what's actually in it? So give me the specifics. Like, so why do I believe you? But I'm a type of person too, even if you just give me, use this, it works, I used it, I will listen to you, and then I'll go home and do my own research. And so will other people. So you don't need to know everything. You don't need to have an experience with everything either, because not everything's going to work for you, and you're different than the next person. So maybe it's something about the supplements. Maybe you're like, I'm really comfortable with the oils, but I don't really know a whole lot about the supplements. Or I don't really know a lot about the makeup. I'm not really understanding, the new baby line and stuff like that. Just because you don't have it in your home doesn't mean you can't help other people to use it, because they still might find merit in it. They still might find benefit in it, because what you do know is the quality control behind it. So that's what's going to be first and foremost most important.
Yeah, I agree. And if you haven't had a particular experience with a certain product, or even I know I've gotten questions about the business, like, do you know people that have actually been successful in this business? Or people constantly ask us, what rank are you at? And the reality is, even though we're executive and we're striving for silver, it really doesn't matter. Because yes, when we went to convention, we've developed relationships with tons of Royal Crown diamonds. So these are people that are making millions of dollars a year. But it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because their experience is going to be different than yours. So I tell people, don't get caught up in the small things. Worry about building your belief. And then if you have an experience that might be able to answer somebody's question, use that. You know, you can say I have not had an experience with that product personally, but I do know such and such person. Maybe you could talk to them, or you could say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I do have a few resources that I could point you to. Go check out a reference guide or use some type of tool to answer the question. That way you don't have to be the authority and you don't have to be afraid if someone asks you a question when you host a class or you're doing on a one-on-one or something like that. Next thing I would say, point number three. Point number three would be talking to people. We feel like we're afraid to sell them. And I'll give you an experience because a lot of people don't know this about me personally, and we go back and forth on this a lot. But my wife actually thinks that I'm an extroverted person and that I like being in the spotlight and talking to people and being around people. And that's only half true because the reality is I'm actually an extroverted introvert. So there are a lot of times where I struggle with talking to people, but I push myself to get over the fear to do it. So we went to a networking event Thursday, and we walked in. There was a ton of looked like CEO execs and successful business people there. And in my head, I'm constantly saying like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. But the reality is I do. We have a valid business, a viable business. We do belong here. And so eventually I got to the point after they fed us and we ate, great food. I said, just go up and talk to this person. Just get over there and do it. And once you get past talking to the first individual, it gets easier and easier and easier. So I'll say that it's the same thing with the business. Like when we say go out and find somebody to talk to, it doesn't have to be find somebody to talk to and sit them down and have a one-on-one and enjoy the oils and to have, like a huge experience. Just get in the habit of talking to people. Hello, how is your day going? What's going on with you? Whether it's your close family and friends or if you're next to somebody at the grocery store. It's rare here in Michigan because people aren't really as conversational. It's not even a word. They're not as conversational. But I know every time that we go out west, people always smile and say hello. And they start a conversation with you. So it's really not hard. It's just training ourselves to get out of the mentality that we're used to. Because a lot of times when we're having a conversation, that need for something that we offer is going to arise and you're going to be able to share it naturally and organically. So don't feel like, like you have to be afraid to talk to people. If you were recommending, a restaurant or a favorite movie to go see, it flows out naturally. And I feel like it's because sometimes we feel like we don't have anything to gain from that. And maybe that's why we share it a little bit more easily. But it can be the same with your business. Even though it is a business and there is some profit that is gained from helping other individuals, it's really about helping other individuals. That's why you need to find that need. Doesn't matter how great the oils are, doesn't matter how great the comp plan. If you can't find a way to feel what we have or feel their need with what we have, it won't matter to them. So really, to get over that fear, not only do you need action, but you also have to have the right motivation. And that motivation is helping people. Did you have anything to add on that?
On that subject?
Yeah. If not, that's okay too. So lastly, the other point that I wanted to share, I keep scooting up because I feel like I'm so far away. But sometimes we're afraid to be successful in this business. What's the saying? What is fear? False evidence appearing real.
Yeah, false evidence appearing real.
But what's the other one? That's what is your greatest fear? It's not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. I think I said that right. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality of it. Like we have to condition our minds and program our minds to believe in ourselves, because we're actually capable of doing anything that we put our minds to. So let's say that somebody wanted to learn to become a chef. If they've been told all throughout their life, you can't cook, it's going to be harder, but it's still possible for that individual to become a chef, because really all they need is the knowledge and the action, right? So it's the same thing that comes to our business. We're told over and over, you can't be successful in multi-level marketing. You can't be successful with a product like Young Living. There's already people in Young Living doing it. You're getting in way too late. We're told, or maybe we think all of these things, but the reality is none of that is true. There are Royal Crown diamonds that rise up every single year. When we go to convention, there's new ones. There's new silvers, executives, every single rank. So that proves that people are successful. And the only difference between them and us is the action, getting over that false evidence appearing real and saying, hey, I deserve this. I'm more than capable of doing this business and transitioning to where I want to be in life. So you have to take those action steps, continue to make your list, treat it as a business, make your list, contact your list, have 2 parties a month at the very minimum. There's always parties that if you're in our area that Dana and I are hosting at the spa that you can always plug people into. And when I say that, just say, hey, I'm going to this class this evening about essential oils. Can you come with me and hang out with me for an hour? Just check it out. And most of the time, if you have a good friend, they're going to say yes. I'll put it to you this way. If you have a close friend of yours that's never been to a class, then that means that you just haven't put forth enough effort to invite them, because they're your best friend. Like, if they're your best friend, your mother, father, sister, brother, whatever, if you have a strong relationship with them, they're going to come just to appease you. Not even if it's not to learn about oils, but the main thing is to get them there. So we have to take those action steps to be successful in the business. That's the only thing that's going to get you over that fear. If you're afraid of something, just do it. If you're afraid of talking to people, talk to one person, because you're going to feel great after you talk to that one person. And then maybe the next day set a new goal that says, I want to talk to 2 people, and talk to 2 people. If follow-up is something that you're afraid of because you're afraid of rejection, then just call people and get the no's out of the way. That's the only way you're going to get over it. I know that I get that question a lot. Like, how do you get people to sign up after they've been to a class? Because they feel like people won't give them a direct answer. And I just tell them you're not asking the right questions. So some of the right questions to ask are not like, did you like it? Would you like to get started? The correct answer, or the correct question to ask, is, what did you like about the class? First of all, I want to thank you so much for coming to my class or sitting down with me one-on-one. What did you like about the class? Even if someone answers with a negative response and they say, oh, I don't like the way them oils smell. Oh, okay. But what did you like? And you always return to that question until they answer it. And then if they don't answer it, you ask it again. I mean, it's just, eventually they're going to find something that they like, whether it's something about the comp plan or a product that you mentioned or the benefits that you mentioned. They're going to find something they like. The second question you ask is, when do you see yourself getting started? And I think that's sometimes a question that we're afraid of, or we have this fear of asking, because we've probably in our minds already made the decision for them, whether they're going to sign up or not. And then we project that. So by asking, when do you see yourself getting started, then that puts the ball in their court. If the person says, you know what, no, it's honestly not for me. Okay, no problem. I thank you for your time. And then me personally, I check back with them in 90 days because things could change. But if they say, probably not for a couple of weeks because I need to get the money together. Okay, great. So I'll call you in a couple of weeks. I can walk you through it, and we can get you started ordering your kit.
And then you still want to touch bases in between those weeks. So, they say 3 weeks. You don't wait 3 weeks to, do any type of contact with them. So it might be after a week, you're sending them, hey, so this is an audio 101 that talks more about toxic-free living. So when you get started, a lot of this will make more sense and you'll be able to implement it in your family. Take a listen to this. You're going to love it. I'm excited for you. And then maybe the next week after that, hey, so I'm so excited in 2 weeks when you get started. This is going to be so impactful for you and your family. I just wanted to make sure you knew that we also have supplements. The oil infused supplements are amazing. And when you add those on after you get your kit, they're going to transform your life. So you always still have some way of continuously contacting them and keeping those lines of communication open. Because even after they get their kit, it's like they get their kit, that's not it, right? We want to introduce them to wellness, purpose, and abundance. And if you have anybody on your team or anybody that you've talked to that is like, oh, that's so expensive, I can't afford that, then you haven't shown them abundance. You haven't showed them that, well, actually, if this is something that you know can impact your family and you have built the value in it, then let me show you how to get this for free. Let me show you how to get the rest of your wellness products for free. Because there's no, they can't go to Whole Foods. They can't go to any health food store and get their wellness products as cheap as they'll get it through Young Living. There's no place that they can get it. Even if they never sign anybody up and only do it from Essential Rewards, the percentages that they're getting back just being on Essential Rewards, ordering the stuff they're already going to use, there's nowhere cheaper that you can get it. I did want to just, when we're talking about fear, the very, very first thing you need to do is be honest with yourself and identify what your fear is. Because if you don't realize that, you know what, honestly, my biggest fear is, picking up this phone and actually calling these people, then you're not going to ever make an adjustment to it, right? If your biggest fear is like, oh my goodness, I see all these people in my organization and I fear, reaching out to them, or whatever your fear might be in this business, you have to recognize and be honest with yourself that this is your fear. Even if I appreciated when we went to convention, and Nikki knows about this, when we went to convention, like, we got to speak with Diamond leader Karen. She's actually the only African-American diamond out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of diamonds. She's the only African-American Black diamond woman. And the first thing she said to me is, do you believe you can do this? She's like, if you don't believe you can do this, there's no reason for us to even have any more of a conversation. Because you have to first believe and see yourself as a Royal Crown diamond. If you just are like, oh, well, it would be nice if I could get to, pay for my oils. Well, the problem is, by nature, when we shoot for something high and we kind of drift somewhere in between, then we still can feel an accomplishment. But if we shoot really, really low, then we're never going to strive for anything higher. So it's so important that we see ourselves there, not just say, oh, well, if it happens, then that would be cool. Like, no, you have to see yourself. No, see yourself in that income disclosure where you said, if I'm gold, then I can simplify my life. I can have more time to do these things. I can have more time with my family. Or if it's when I'm platinum, whatever your rank was, like, you have to see yourself there. You have to believe that you can impact the lives of hundreds and hundreds of people. You have to believe that it is in your power to keep going and to do it. If you don't believe it, nobody else is going to bring you your dream on a platter. Nobody else is going to bring you these people. Even depending on what your faith belief is, if you have a higher being, you know that you have to put in work for that to be blessed. You can't just say, oh, I want this, and then do nothing to work in harmony with that. So it's so important, first and foremost, that you believe that that's what you can do and what you can accomplish. And if there's something holding you back, you have to recognize what that fear is. What is holding you back? And some stuff, honestly, are you using your emotional oils? Are you using those blends to get you over those slumps and over those humps?
Valor.
So I did just grab, I don't know if everybody is familiar, I hope you are, with the Aroma Freedom Technique. This is Dr. Perkis who formulated this, and it's a play on, there's other techniques that psychologists use, but they implement the oils in there and the affirmations with it, and it helps you release some of those things that could be seated in your DNA from when you were in a childhood. It could be something that, you know, your parents have been breathing over you your whole life that you don't even realize are keeping you from doing more or keeping you from believing that you can do it. Another really, really good book is this one. I don't know if you guys can really read it, but it's Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. This one's by Dr. Carolyn Main. All of these doctors, again, they've researched, actually studied the brain waves and the DNA and how some of these things can affect our being successful, affect and keep us behind. And the beautiful thing about something like this is that fear is probably holding you back in other things too. So when you overcome and you can get beyond this fear within this business, it's going to be amazing the things that it'll affect and help with even in your day-to-day life. Whether it's your relationship with your spouse or your relationship with your children or your relationship with your grandchildren or whatever it may be, when you can get past those fears, you can face them, say, this is what I'm afraid of, but I'm not going to let it keep me down or immobilize me where I can't move. I'm going to get beyond that. I'm going to keep going. So believe that you can do it and get beyond those fears.
Okay, so homework assignment for this week. When we're talking about the topic of fear, I want you to take one task that you found difficult to do, which most people find it to be getting on the phone and calling people. So if that is your fear, make phone calls to 10 people this week. And I'm going to tell you one thing that's pretty interesting about people and the time that we live in. Most do not answer the phone. Yeah, most do not answer the phone. They text, but most people do not answer the phone. So what I would suggest is get really good at your voicemail conversation. Because that's one thing that I did. Learn to leave an excellent voicemail, and then they'll probably text you back from there. But pick up the phone and actually dial and call an individual. If you haven't talked to them for a while, catch up with them. If they ask you what you're doing, hey, funny that you ask. I'm actually now involved in a company called Young Living. We're teaching and educating people on toxic-free living using essential oils. I wanted to call and invite you to my next class.
And remember, our next class we have on the books Friday evening at 6:30 and then Sunday at 4:30. We will have the makeup on hand. So you want to promote that to all your people too. Make sure you plug in your team. Make sure you're in the game plan. Remember, we want to invite 50 people to each one of the classes and choose 3 people, whether it's friends, family, whether they're in Young Living or not Young Living, but 3 people where they're going to invite 50, they're going to invite 50, they're going to invite 50, right? So we're looking at right there, at least each person, we're going to be having 200 people that we're inviting to this class, right? Law of averages. So we want to at least each class we're plugging into 200 people that you have, because you have people helping you so you can network and get those people there. And this is going to be the last 2 of this month. So now is also the time to start looking at your calendar and seeing what you're going to book for next month. But we're really, really holding on to the suite because we want you to be able to have a central location where you can invite people and you can build your business. You know, we do these team calls to help support you build your business. We should be having fun right now, partying, but you are this important to us. You're a part of our team. So we want to make this sacrifice to be on these calls for you, to be consistent with these calls. You know, 8:30 every Sunday, 8:30 every Sunday, and we're going to be here. And we'll have the replay where you can go back and listen to it over and over, and write notes. The brain actually remembers more when you're writing notes on it. So we are here. Let us know. He is the business builder guy. You got some specific business questions. You don't understand the comp plan. You don't understand why your check looks the way it does. Pick up the phone, call this man, check him out. I'm just here to love on
I know
people.
about some products. Look, that's why I've learned about some products. I want to be able to answer those questions. But that's it. That's all we got for you guys this week. Thank you for your time. I encourage all to be on the call next week. But yeah, plug into those classes, and hopefully we'll see you guys there. Until next time, everybody take care. Stay healthy.
Bye.
Good night.